Hello everybody, welcome back to the Spoked Wheel YouTube channel. Today we're back with episode 24 of the Andy Schleck Pro Cyclist Mode series. And today we have 3 different races on the menu. First off, in our first ever World Tour race, we have 2 stages in the UAE Tour. Both of them are uphill finishes, so decent opportunities to sort of test ourselves against World Tour opportunity and see World Tour opposition, and see how we're doing at that level. And then we'll end the video with stage 5 of the Tour of Turkey because it's a similar, really steep mountain finish. So another good chance for us to try and contend for a stage win and maybe even do something on the GC. Alright, so we're into stage 3 at the UAE Tour. This is the Jebel Hafit finish that is used in the race. In real life in 2021, Tadej Pogačar won this stage just ahead of Adam Yates, I think. So some good climbing names tend to do well on this finish. We weren't one of the pre-race favorites in the magazine, but we do have a nice +3 race day condition, so hopefully that will give us enough we need to maybe pull off a surprise and try and get a decent result on today's stage. We are officially starting the climb of Jebel Hafit right now. As you can see from the profile here, there's a pretty steep, decisive section in the latter half of the climb. So in the first half of the climb, we're going to try and basically just keep our powder dry and stay in a decent spot without using too much energy, and then on that steep section up near the top of the climb, we can try, if we're still feeling good, we can try and go on the offensive and see if we could get the win, potentially. And with 6.5 kilometers to go, there's a move coming from Dan Martin, who is one of the big favorites pre-race. So we've gone to effort cursor on 80 effort to try and respond. EF are using Simon Clark to ride for, I believe Hugh Carthy would be their leader there, but the pace is really starting to kick up now as teams are trying to respond to that move from Martin, who actually got a great win on stage 17 of the Giro today when I'm recording, so congrats to him on that one. He's now won a stage of all 3 Grand Tours, which is very impressive. But we're now hitting the steepest section of the climb here, so let's go on the offensive ourselves here and try and get a little bit of a gap on some of these other guys. It's up over 12% gradient here, so really tough part of the climb. We've bridged up to Dan Martin. Let's stick it on effort cursor and ride on 85 effort. We have gotten a little bit of a gap here with just Martin and Quintana being able to follow us. Let's kick in our energy gel. We still have a decent amount of yellow and our red is recovering, so it's possible we could try for the stage win here. Let's put it on relay in case anyone wants to help us out, which Quintana is doing. It does start to flatten out here, but let's make our move now towards the line. Dan Martin is going to take the stage win, it looks like, and we will have to settle for 2nd place, but that's a very, very solid result for Andy Schleck on Jebel Hafit. Definitely a big announcement to everyone else in the race that we're a serious GC contender here at the UAE Tour. We're into stage 5 at the UAE Tour now. Apparently this is the same finish on Jebel Hafit. I'm pretty sure in real life in the 2021 race, this stage finished on Jebel Jais instead. That stage was won by Jonas Vingegaard ahead of, I think it was Pogačar and Yates again as well, making up the top 3. As you can see here, we're currently 2nd on GC, 4 seconds back of Dan Martin, so we have a real chance here to try and go for the GC. It looks like pretty much the same finish where there's a flatter section in the middle part and then it kicks back up again, so that seems like a pretty good part to once again try and make our move. And if we could get the stage win, that would be awesome, and it would bring us up to even on time with Dan Martin if he finished 2nd. So it's all in play at the moment. We could try and win this thing overall, which would be a really good result for our first World Tour stage race. We are now heading on to the final climb of stage 5. We have our main man, Louis Mankeys, here to protect us and help us out on the climb. And we can actually see his stats now. So he has a 75 base mountain rating, +2 on the day. So very solid. He will be a big help to us this season in the mountains. But once again, I think our strategy is basically just sort of hold tight for the first portion of the climb and then try and use that steep section after it flattens out for a while to make our move and go for the stage. The gradients are kicking back up now as we're into the last 3 kilometers, so let's go on the offensive and attack here. Dan Martin is trying to respond straight away, but we're not really getting a gap like we did last time. Dan Martin on our wheel, so let's just put it back on 85 effort and ride. We're catching the sort of breakaway of Kwiatkowski, Schachman, and Michael Woods here as we head towards the final kilometer. It looks like it's going to be more of a group finish this time around, but we're just going to keep riding here in a group of favorites, and let's sprint for the line here. It's going to be Quintana through the middle, or maybe even Schachman passing him at the last moment. Really close between those two. Schachman takes it ahead of Nairo Quintana. We end up 3rd, which should actually give us 4 bonus seconds. Martin 4th out of the bonus seconds. So we may have just done enough to move into 1st overall in the UAE Tour. So as you can see from the results after stage 5, Dan Martin has kept his overall lead. We're in 2nd, Nairo Quintana is in 3rd, but all 3 of us are on the exact same time. So the real significant stages with climbing are done for this race, but there's plenty of sprint points and bonus seconds lying around for us to fight between to try and decide a winner to this UAE Tour. Alright, so before we get into the final race of the video, let's take a quick look at results. So you can see here, we ended up finishing 2nd in the UAE Tour, behind Dan Martin and ahead of Nairo Quintana, so it was exactly as we left it. We were unable to move up over the last couple of flat stages, but I'd say that's still a very, very good result for our first ever World Tour stage race. We picked up a stage win at this race in Portugal. Unfortunately, we crashed and lost some time, so didn't really contend in the final general classification. And now in the Tour of Turkey, we have picked up a couple of 4th place finishes so far, so hopefully that's a good sign ahead of this mountain stage to set us up nicely for a GC push, I guess. We're into stage 5 at the Tour of Turkey now, and we are favorites to win this stage. We have a great race day condition of +4, and as you can also see, we've been able to upgrade our attributes, so we now have an 83 base mountain rating. Really the only thing that's preventing us from being Grand Tour ready at this point is our secondary stats, our stamina and resistance, so we're going to have to just keep upgrading those as we go along to eventually get to a point where we're ready to contend for Grand Tours. But I think today's a very good opportunity to try and win a stage and perhaps even the GC of a stage race against some nice World Tour opposition. I think our closest competitor on the final climb today will be Ivan Sosa of Ineos, so he's the rider that I want to keep an eye on and make sure I'm following on that final climb. But I think if our team is able to put us in a good position and we get to that final climb in the leading group, I think today's stage is ours to lose. So we're going to do our best to make that happen and grab the win, and hopefully it will lead to a GC victory as well. With just under 12 kilometers to go, we're now on to the final climb. My game has been lagging a lot, so apologies for that. This stage has been tough to run for whatever reason for my computer, but we're in a pretty good spot because our team did some great work to bring back the breakaway, so it's really just the peloton now in contention for this win. And right now it's Ineos on the front setting tempo for their man Ivan Sosa, so our job is just gonna be to stay with him, I suppose, and then as we get later into the climb, as things start to open up, I'll look to go on the offensive to try and win the stage. With 7 kilometers to go, Ineos are not really riding that hard anymore, so I think it's time to try a first acceleration. Not going to go too hard on this one, but just to try and get a little gap and see who chases and who doesn't and where things stand among the other GC contenders. So Brandon Rivera for Ineos brought that move back pretty quickly. Toulet here is also riding for Gino Mader, who is riding for Alpecin Fenix. Mader's going on the attack, so let's follow that move. Ivan Sosa, Jan Hurt, and Harm van Hoke seem to be the other riders, as well as Leknesund, who are up here on the climb and doing well. But I think we're going to counter this move from Gino Mader. It was a great attack, but we have enough energy to try and counter it. And let's, with 3 kilometers to go, let's kick up the effort a little bit and ride hard for a few kilometers. We're going to stick it on 85 for now. We seem to have gotten a little gap here. Let's use our energy gel as well. Gino Mader seems to be the second best rider on this climb after us, because he's sort of trying to chase us down here, but as we head into the final 2 kilometers, I think we're going to be on course for the stage win, and given that we have, let's bump it down a little bit so we don't blow up completely, but given that we have over a minute ahead of Gino Mader, this should be giving us enough of an advantage to win the GC in this race as well, which will be a great victory, given that it's a HC race against some good World Tour riders. So let's sprint for the line here to get every second possible, but Andy Schleck takes the win in stage 5 of the Tour of Turkey. And now it's just a matter of seeing who comes home next, I guess. I think it's going to be Mader second, the Swiss rider. Riding for Alpecin Fenix, it is indeed Harm van Hoke third, Jan Hurt fourth. Ivan Sosa nowhere to be seen. I thought he was going to be our closest challenger, but it's Koen Bowman and Toulet ahead of him, Leknesund, and finally Ivan Sosa, along with Flores here. So not the best performance for Sosa, but we hit it out of the park, so I'm very happy with that ride from Andy Schleck. So here are the results of that stage 5 in the Tour of Turkey. We beat Gino Mader by 2 minutes and 25 seconds, which means that we move into the GC lead with an advantage of 2 minutes and 29 seconds. So that should be more than enough to hold on to the overall lead in the final flat stage of the race. And that's going to be it for the racing in today's video. I think our next race that we actually play through will probably be this race, the Mont Ventoux Challenge, which we finished second in last year, so hopefully we can try and win it this year. But everything in between, I think I'm just going to play through quickly so that we can keep making good progress in our second season. So I'll be back again soon with that next video with Mont Ventoux, the Tour of Slovenia, and then the National Championships. And until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.